You've caught me reading. I am reading East of the Sun, West of the Moon, and this book really reminds me of, who's read The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman? It reminds me of Lyra with the bear. Now, it is obviously set somewhere really, really cold and snowy, so I thought I'd keep my coat on to read it. If I put my coat on properly, I look like Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, so let's see. East of the Sun, West of the Moon by Chris Powling, illustrated by Violetta Dabija. Chapter 1, The Bear. Long ago and far away in a land of trolls and magic, there lived a poor farmer. His house was falling down, his family were in rags, and his money was almost gone. Now winter was coming on. Listen to the wind and the rain, the farmer wailed. What can I do? Won't somebody please help me? Tap, tap, tap. There at the farmhouse door stood a big white bear. I'm lonely, the bear said. Lend me Astrid, your daughter, and I'll make you and your family rich. Now this story reminds me of something else. It reminds me of Rumpelstiltskin. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that story. And it says it's a traditional tale, so I'd be interested to see where this tale is traditional and how it links to both Rumpelstiltskin and to the story of the Golden Compass. So today you have some reading, quite a few World Book Day activities, and we're going to also be doing our introductions to our explanation tests all about what is a fossil. And something I'm going to read for you a little bit later will really help you with that. And we have more maths about the Fibonacci sequence and patterns in nature. Again, fossils are so fascinating. This week, your PSCD trait is communication. I'm just going to point out that we're all ready and waiting for you. We cannot wait for you to come back on Monday. We've got our topic walls started already, all about evolution. Okay, we've got a picture on the wall already of a humanoid that was around on the earth before the current humanoids, us, which are Homo sapiens or Homo sapiens. And we've also got some examples of fossils from different eras. So it's really exciting to have you back on Monday. Now, because it's World Book Day, I've got a selection of books that we do have in the school that you can be reading when you get back in here. First one is Fossils, a photographic field guide. This book here is a non-fiction text. Not all the books that we have in the school are fiction, they're not all stories. And this here explains how fossils are formed. It's also got loads and loads of pictures of different fossils. So I'm going to read a little bit of this. Only a very small fraction of all the organisms that have lived is preserved in the fossil record. When a plant or animal dies, it may decompose, be eaten by scavengers, or fragmented by erosion. Unless it is buried by sediment, it stands little chance of becoming a fossil. Land creatures are less likely to be buried in this way than creatures that live in the sea, where sediment accumulates on the seabed and eventually can be changed into rock. It also helps considerably if the organism has some hard parts. These are more likely to survive, at least for some time, before burial by sediment takes place. There's a lot more about that, a lot more real detailed explanation and different technical vocabulary. The next book I have is a fiction book. It is by Anita Desai, it's The Village by the Sea. And the reason I picked this book up is because it reminds me of Stone Girl, Bone Girl, because Mary Anning lived in a village by the sea in Lyme Regis. And that's how she found fossils. Now, most non-fiction books, like the fossil book, have glossaries in the back and explain the key terminology, the vocabulary that's technical, scientific, that you need to know in order to talk about that field. Now, this book, Anita Desai was born in India and she uses some terminology from Indian languages. And what she has done is put some of the Indian words at the front to help you. So almost like a glossary, even though this is a fiction book. So it says Bai means mistress or missus, and Bay means brother, and there's quite a lot of others in here. When Lila went out onto the beach, it was so early in the morning that there was no one else there. The sand was washed clean by last night's tide, and no one had walked on it except the birds that fished along the coast, gulls, curlews and sandpipers. She walked down to the sea with the small basket she carried on the flat of her hand, filled with flowers she had plucked from the garden around their house. Scarlet hibiscus blooms, sweet-smelling spider lilies, and bright butter-yellow alamander flowers. I really like the way this book starts, and I hope I get a chance to finish this book. And I've also got Refugee Boy by Benjamin Zephani. Benjamin Zephani is mostly known as a poet. This is a novel. And it starts with a little introduction about writing this book. And he says, "It's a hard life being labelled political. It seems that because I'm constantly ranting about the ills of the world, I'm expected to have all the answers. But I don't, and I've never claimed to. Besides, I'm not a politician. What interests me is people." So Benjamin Zephani here is talking a little bit about his own book. This bit at the beginning of the book is non-fiction. It's true. It's his own talking about the book. But then we start the story. "Welcome to England, Mr. Kilo," said the immigration officer as he handed back the passports to Elam's father. Elam stared up at the tall officer. The officer looked down at Elam. "Have a good holiday now." "Thank you," said Elam's father. He took Elam's hand and began to head for the baggage reclaim area. Elam jerked his father's hand and stopped suddenly. "Abayeyo, Taguru Tekatlawal," he said, brimming with excitement. His father turned to him and spoke as if he was trying to shout quietly. "What did I tell you? From now on you must try to speak English. You must practice your English. All right, young man." Elam panicked. "Is she Abaye?" he said. His father's response was swift. "English, I said." "Yes, father." Right. So this is, it's about coming into England. So finally, from me and from Cora, have a lovely day. And I'll leave you with a little bit of reminder of what you need for your explanation text.